In this video, we're going to talk about pronoun antecedent agreement. And before we get started, let's just review pronouns. Pronouns are words that take the place of nouns. So these are words like he, she, it, they. There's all kinds of pronouns. Those are just a few examples. Antecedents are words that the pronoun replaced. So specifically, we're going to make sure that our pronouns agree in person, number, and gender. And let's start with gender because that's the easiest skill. So basically what we're saying is if we have a guy noun, we need to make sure that it agrees by having a guy pronoun. So our pronoun, of course, is his. Our antecedent, the word that his replaced, or the noun that his replaced, is Rob. Similarly, if we have a girl, we need a girl pronoun. Most people in 6th grade are easily able to do this, so this should be just review. So, for example, if I say Dad said, we know that we would have he because Dad's a guy. Or the puppy wanted to play, so now if we talk about animals, it's okay to refer to them as an it. You can also refer to your animal as a he or she if you know the gender of the animal. So this is a really easy skill. We're going to skip to the next skill. Next skill we're going to talk about is making sure that pronouns agree with the antecedents in person. So we're talking about first, second, third person pronouns. And remember our first person pronouns are like I, we, my, those type of pronouns. Second person pronouns are you and your. Third person pronouns like he, she, his, it, they, those types of pronouns. And what we don't want, notice how this sentence right up here switches from third person to second person. We don't want that. We want to make sure this sentence stays consistent in third person. So if we take a look at this example, notice how we have a first person pronoun, and the only pronoun that we can choose here could be a first person pronoun. So the only one that's a first person pronoun out of these three is I. Notice how this sentence, again, it's not only in third person, also notice how we have four different types actually, of dogs. So we need to find a pronoun that's in third person, and we also need to find a pronoun that's going to match 3 different types of dogs. Same way with this one, third person pronouns. Now let's talk about the tough skill. This is a skill that throws adults off, and it also throws students off, throws college kids off, and here's why. In our interactive notebook, remember that we created a table, and we said that anything in this table is a singular antecedent. Even though it looks like it could be plural, it's not, it's singular. And anytime you see one of these antecedents, you need to use his or her for pronouns. Now, this confuses people because let's take a couple right and wrong ways here. I'm going to give you a wrong way to use anybody. So if I say, anybody who brought their interactive notebook to class today will receive a piece of candy. Notice I messed this up. That's incorrect. I can't use there. It sounds okay. You'd hear adults do it. Not correct. Here's the correct way of saying that. Anybody who brought his or her interactive notebook to class today will receive a piece of candy. Let's try another one. Incorrect. This is the incorrect way. I need everybody to get out their pencils. That's incorrect. Everybody is a singular antecedent. The correct way would be to say, I need everybody to get out his or her pencil. Really, when you think about it, we're talking about every single body. If I'm doing lunch duty and I walk up to a 6th grade table and I say, somebody dropped their food on the floor, that's incorrect. The correct way would be to say, somebody dropped his or her food on the floor. Now, notice some of these are kind of giveaways. I mean, when we have one, that is definitely singular. But some of these are a little tricky. So this is where, when you're working on your worksheet, I'd totally recommend having this table out and referring to it until you kind of get these memorized. Now, the mistake I've seen a lot of kids make is they automatically assume that Mr. Hall never wants us to use they or their. That's not correct. Okay, there are a few cases if your subject is plural and if it has these plural antecedents where you would use their. So we're not using his or her every single time, only if it's singular. And again, this is where it's helpful to refer to the table. So if we take a look at our first one, a few crickets. Notice how we have 2 giveaways here. First of all, we have a few, and that is one of the pronouns on our plural table. We also have crickets with an S, that's plural. This is going to be a there. Others. Notice again how we have others with the S on it, which comes on our plural table. This means more than one. This is going to have there. Students. Notice again how this has an S on it. It's plural. More than one. This is going to be there. Each teacher. Notice how this is each individual teacher. This isn't a case where it's singular. Notice how we have our each. That's one of the words on our table. This is going to be his or her. Someone. Notice how it has that key one in there. That's a giveaway. This is also going to be his or her. Everyone. Notice again, we have that one, that key word. This is going to be a his or her. Several. This is plural. More than one. Also notice how we have kids. So we have more than one. This is going to be a their. Neither. Again, this is singular. This is on that table, and we're not talking about both of these people. We're talking about one or the other. So it's just going to be one. This is going to be singular. Nobody. That's one. This is going to be singular. So when you work on this, this is a good time to use your table until you get them memorized. And once you get them memorized, they'll kind of stick with you.